The alien city glimmered under the twin suns, a labyrinth of spires and bridges that seemed to float above the ground. The air shimmered with the energy of unknown technology, and the sky was streaked with ships that darted like silver fish through the light. Among the towering structures and hovering platforms, the alien princess moved swiftly, her steps silent on the smooth surface of her palace's observation deck. She carried herself with grace, but her eyes held a storm that no diplomat or warrior could read. She had waited longer than she cared to admit. The city around her was beautiful, but empty of the warmth she longed for. Her people, fierce and proud, had never understood her desire to see beyond the stars, to witness bravery not dictated by royal decree or lineage. She had grown accustomed to solitude, but even solitude could not mask the ache in her heart. The alien princess stopped at the edge of the highest balcony. She looked out at the horizon, where a storm of energy clouds roiled in colors unfamiliar to human eyes. It was here, at the meeting point of sky and city, that she sensed the faint vibration of a life approaching her, one that carried both danger and promise. The sound of footsteps reached her ears. They were steady, deliberate, unhurried, yet carried the weight of someone who had traveled across worlds to arrive at this moment. Her hand instinctively went to the side of her cloak, brushing against the ceremonial dagger she had carried for protection since she could walk. But she did not draw it. She already knew who it was. From the shadows of a lower platform, a figure emerged. The human soldier moved with careful precision, each step calculated, yet there was a lightness to his motion, a fluidity that spoke of both training and instinct. He was clad in armor that reflected the sun's light in fractured patterns, a mask covering his face, concealing the expressions that might reveal fear or hope. He paused at the foot of the stairs leading to her platform, his gaze fixed upward. The princess descended the steps to meet him. Her presence alone commanded attention. Even the winds seemed to bend around her, as though acknowledging her authority. The soldier raised his hand in a gesture of respect, but he did not kneel. He knew better than to show submission before someone of her stature, yet his eyes betrayed a vulnerability that no armor could hide. "I knew you would come," the princess said, her voice soft but unwavering. The words carried weight, a resonance that spoke of hope, relief, and a quiet kind of joy that few had ever witnessed. The soldier did not answer. Instead, he remained still, letting her words sink into the space between them. He had come across galaxies, through storms and conflicts, driven by a promise he had made long ago. And now, standing before her, he understood the gravity of the moment. The princess took a step closer, her gaze never leaving his. Her hand reached out, tentative but firm, and rested upon the mask that hid his face. Her fingers brushed against the edges, and for a moment the world seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a gentle motion, she removed the mask. The human soldier's eyes met hers. They were filled with weariness, yes, but also a steadfast determination. He had seen horrors she could not imagine, survived trials that would have broken the strongest of warriors, and yet here he stood, unwavering. Because he had believed in her, tears welled in the princess's eyes. She did not bother to hide them. "I knew you had come," she repeated, her voice trembling slightly. The words were both a declaration and a relief, an acknowledgement of the bond that had drawn them together across impossible distances. He stepped closer, closing the space between them. "I promised," he said simply. There was no grand declaration, no flourish of words meant to impress. His truth was in the simplicity of his statement, in the weight it carried after years of absence and struggle. The city around them continued its hum, but for a moment the noise faded into the background. All that mattered was the connection between them, forged in trials and tempered in unspoken understanding. The princess reached out, taking both of his hands in hers. The touch was electric, a jolt that sent warmth through her entire being. She could feel his heartbeat, steady and strong, and it resonated with her own in a rhythm older than memory. "You traveled far," she said softly, almost a whisper, "and you faced dangers no one could have imagined. Why did you come?" The soldier looked into her eyes, his expression unwavering. "Because you believed in me," he said. "Because I believed in you, and because no distance, no enemy, no obstacle could change that." She smiled through her tears, a smile that was both tender and fierce. "You understand, then," she said, "why I could not wait any longer, why I could not let hope fade into the shadows." He nodded, understanding without needing words. They had both faced moments when doubt threatened to consume them, when the weight of expectations and the enormity of their tasks could have driven them apart. Yet here they were, bound by something that transcended duty, beyond allegiance. A connection that was both rare and profound. The princess stepped back slightly, looking at him with a mixture of admiration and relief. "You carry the essence of humanity in you," she said, her voice reverent. "Courage, compassion, resilience. Even in a world where strength is measured by power alone, you have proven that the heart matters more." He shook his head, a faint smile on his lips. "It is not just me," he replied. "You have always inspired it in me. Your vision, your courage, your belief in something greater, those are the things that kept me moving forward when all else failed." The wind shifted, carrying with it a faint scent of alien flora and the electric tongue of energy fields that powered the city. It whispered around them like a witness to the silent promise forming between two worlds. The princess lowered her gaze, considering the soldier in a new light. He was more than a protector, more than a warrior. He was a bridge between her world and the possibilities she had long dreamed of. And in that moment, she realized the truth she had always known but never dared to speak aloud. "You have come at the right time," she said softly. "There are forces moving against us, forces that will not understand the bond between our kinds. But I believe, with you, we can face them. Together." The soldier took a step closer, closing the final distance. "Then we face them together," he said. His words carried certainty, a promise of action and unwavering loyalty. They stood side by side, overlooking the city that seemed both alien and familiar, a place of beauty and danger intertwined. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows that stretched across the cityscape. In that light, they were not just a princess and a soldier. They were a symbol of unity, a testament to courage, and a reminder that even in a universe filled with uncertainty, hope could be found in the most unexpected alliances. The princess took a deep breath, letting the weight of the moment settle into her bones. She felt the warmth of his presence, the steady strength that had guided him across worlds, and she knew that this was only the beginning. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, not as separate beings of different worlds, but as partners bound by choice, respect, and something far deeper than duty. "Come," she said, her voice gaining strength. "There is much to prepare, and the night will bring trials we must face." He nodded, falling into step beside her. The city stretched before them, a maze of possibilities, dangers, and wonders. Yet with each step, they moved as one, ready to confront whatever awaited. The alien princess glanced at him, her eyes shining with a mixture of joy, determination, and relief. "I believed you would come," she said once more, her voice a quiet echo against the vast expanse. "And now I know the truth of it." He met her gaze, understanding the depth of her words. "I promised," he replied simply, and that was enough. As the twin suns set behind the horizon, casting the city in hues of gold and violet, the princess and the soldier moved forward together. Their shadows stretched long and intertwined, a silent testament to the bond that had defied distance, danger, and expectation. And in that quiet, powerful moment, the universe seemed to acknowledge them, not as alien or human, not as princess or soldier, but as two beings whose courage and faith in one another could change the course of worlds. And so, under the glow of distant stars, the journey began, not one of conquest or obligation, but one of trust, unity, and the undeniable power of humanity meeting the extraordinary in ways that no being could predict.